Top of the weekend to you, weekend peoples. Welcome back to Minardi. I hope each and every one of you is doing awesome. I'm sorry it was a quieter week than I had aimed for, but I've been a little bit under the weather. I've not been feeling so good, and I'm still not actually, but it's weekend time. That means Grand Prix World. Don't want to let you down. Let's crack on. Right then, we made some pleasing progress on the 2000 car to the point that I'm confident it should be a step forward. That is important because the thing we need now is really some upturning on track performance to try and help us secure some better deals. Shout out, by the way, to all the people who called me out on being a fucking idiot because I invited the wrong tyre sponsor to our to our hospitality suite just for fun, apparently. Thank you guys. I think it's because you won't be aware of this yet because I didn't get a chance to announce it until now. But for a long time, I've been getting emails and messages, not in huge amounts, but I don't get anything in huge amounts, asking me about Twitch streaming. And at the moment, it's not really feasible. I'm going to spend some time. It was going to be this weekend. It will be next weekend now. Trying to see if I can get this game running on my other machine where streaming is potentially an option. But in order to sort of ease things in, I have started another playthrough. So if you're not getting enough Grand Prix World here, please feel free to head over to twitch.tv. There is a Sauber playthrough in progress. Only one episode so far. There'll be another one today. It will not at all interfere with what we're doing over here on YouTube. It's the Sauber playthrough over there is going to be very incremental, very slow. Maybe only one episode a week, if that. The reason I'm doing that is to sort of take advantage while the ground is relatively new. Obviously, uploading VODs there has been a relatively new feature. It's still in beta actually, and it's good to get in at the ground level. The other reason is that eventually I do want to do occasional streams because enough of you have been asking, and apparently the streaming for YouTube is not particularly good. So you're not missing anything if you don't choose to go over and watch the Sauber content on Twitch. Again, it's going to be heavily tutorialized, and if you've been watching the Arrows playthrough and you've been watching this as well, you're missing precisely nothing. The reason I chose Sauber, though, is that it's a harder team to play than you might initially think. It fits into this little bracket alongside Stewart, where you start with, in Stewart's case, you start with a works engine deal. In Sauber's case, you start with around 2.5 million in the bank and a level 3 factory. In both cases, the teams begin hemorrhaging money from sort of mid-season onwards, and it's very easy to go bankrupt. It's not as outright hard as playing Tyrrell or Minardi, but it is certainly there's a challenge element there. And the thing about Sauber is that if you're not prepared, it does lull you into a false sense of security because you forget very quickly that you're paying many millions for your drivers, you're paying for tyres, fuel and engines, so your outgoings are pretty huge. So if that holds any interest for you, jump over there by all means, but I do feel that for most of you guys it's going to be rehashing old ground. And I wasn't particularly pleased with the first episode, to be honest. I feel that I had to skip over things to keep the video in sort of a reasonable length. So again, you're not missing anything, but your views are very welcome over there as well if that's something that interests you. Right, with that out of the way, we need to do a bit of a post-mortem because we are now on round 9. That's 7 rounds from the end of the season, and we have some serious problems ahead of us. First of all, we have a major problem, in my opinion, is that we have missed out on a 2-season works deal with Ford. It's too late in the season now to chase a Peugeot deal. Peugeot as well are only offering us a partner deal now, which means all their works contracts have been eaten up by other teams. That might mean that Mercedes-Benz or Ferrari have works deals up for grabs. Ferrari is still not willing to offer us one anyway. It makes me think, to be honest, that if we'd known this in advance, then it would have been better to go straight to Mugen Honda for a 2-season partner deal, the easiest partner deal we could have signed. We will now be tied for 2 seasons to a partner deal, which means we still next season can't begin negotiating for a works deal. That's going to hamper us, especially considering that we are not going to get a team sponsor before 2001. It's a problem. We've also got a 2-season tyre deal in negotiation. That's also a partner deal, which means no extra money coming in. We're just making a saving. And the works deal that we want for Mobil 1 just isn't happening. Just nothing is coming out of that. They really do not like us, and I don't know why. Part of me is thinking now of switching from Mobil to Agip, taking a 2-season partner deal there as well, and using the additional manpower to hoover up cash sponsors next year. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I did promise you a sort of an evaluation as to why this has happened. Well, the main reason is that if we take a look at our commercial department, our morale is terrible. We have a level 2 chief, and we only have 19 staff members, the majority of which are weak. They're very poorly skilled. So that means we're not generating a lot of work potential there at all. And secondly, it means that we're only running at 63% of that already small maximum capacity. So we're just not able to really court the sponsors that we need. The chief in particular is not the problem from my standpoint. The morale issue is the big problem. And hopefully we can begin turning that round. The other departments are doing what we need them to do in spite of the morale problems, but commercial is what underwrites it all, and it's a real problem when things don't go our way. Now, what can we do to fix it? Well, we've already touched on the first aim, which is if we can't get works deals, it's good to get multi-year partner deals and try and use that extra year's breathing room to throw all our weight behind getting some top-level sponsors. We're not getting anywhere at all with Danker. I really don't know what we can do there. I think we're going to have to make the switch to somewhere else. And again, I'm not really sure who's going to be within our reach, to be honest. We could go after Zepter, I suppose. I mean, the Danker deal is 2 seasons, which would be incredibly helpful, but they're just not going to sign. They just aren't going to sign. This means, in my opinion, we're in for a very, very tight season next season as well. And it will be Deniz and Takagi who continue to underwrite the team. In terms of moving forward, we're just going to have to swallow our medicine, unfortunately. And again, we know roughly why this is happening, but sometimes you just get unlucky as well. You just get unlucky. I do believe we could have tied up the Works Ford deal if other teams hadn't been negotiating with them, and that's just down to chance, really. Our aim now has to be to finish these partner deals. We need all 3 partner deals in order to get anywhere. With that in mind, I'm going to restart our hospitality program. I'm going to invite the right sponsors, and we're going to see if we can't get ourselves tied up. The partner deals are not terrible, but what we needed was the free engines and the cash, and now we're just getting the free engines. We can try and maybe hoover up some benefits, but I don't think we're particularly likely to get them. We'll be lucky to complete the deals at this stage. And I'm trying not to throw too much money at this problem. because obviously we're approaching the stage where we're going to have to do the final build of our cars. Skipping back to the design office for just a moment, I think if we let it run to round 10 in the CFD simulation phase, we can even go to round 11 really, 12, 13, and then 14 and 15 we build our cars. Yeah, I think that's our best option. And what we'll have to hope for is an upturn in form next season that enables us to restore some morale to our departments. And with that morale and the extra efficiency we get out of all the employees that we've got at the factory at the moment, we need to hoover up as many cash sponsors as possible. As many as we can. And begin investing that money the next season while we try and poach Red Bull from our enemies. Right, so we've set up as best we can. It might be that we fail. It might be that we don't achieve our goals. It might be that the team runs out of business. So do bear with me if you'll enjoy seeing failure. I'll throw another designer at this, I think. It's going to be our on-track performance that saves us going forward, I feel. Not happy about spending 116,000 extra cash dollars, but we have to take out all the stoppers now to try and secure the survival of the team. Let's see what condition the cars are in. There is a temptation within me to run a test, but we know that's a stupid idea that only an idiot would commit to at this point. We have 3% damage on car 3, which is Pedro Deniz's car. Yeah, there is too much wear on these cars to throw them around the track for testing purposes, which is unfortunate. But it won't matter if the team goes bankrupt. So it's cars 2 and 3 that are in race trim. So that's frustrating. 2% wear left on Toru Takagi's machine. Sorry, Pedro Deniz's machine. 29 on Toru Takagi's. I'm not going to bother doing testing. I think we could end up spending easily a few $100,000 on no real gain. I know we could use it to boost the design of next year's car, but I think we've achieved our main goal straight off the bat. We've got a booster to the next stage of development, which should help us get a few more points in there. What we need next really is a supercomputer to help us with the CFD simulations, but that will come after the sponsors. We've got no new upgrades to throw at either machine, but that's just dandy. Let's head to Britain. Well, apparently I didn't set anything up there because I'm an idiot. Right, that's better. So 16 degrees, light rain and a very strong wind for quali. Doesn't really make much difference to us because we're not going to pull anything spectacular out of the hat here. No, 15th and 19th. 15th's pretty good, actually. To be fair, 15th is pretty good. Deniz putting in a 134.402. He's 6/10 off the back of Esteban Tuero's arrows, but he does outqualify Luca Pedro's arrows and Ricardo Rossit's Tyrrell. What is worrying is that Rubens Barrichello's Stewart managed to get past Toru Takagi, which is unfortunate. We're also falling back into the clutches of the Prosts as well. Fisichella is only 2/10 and change off the back of Toru Takagi, which means Takagi was only just inside the 107% time. Laurent Redon obviously is the only non-qualifier. Up at the sharp end, Damon Hill in the Ferrari takes pole on a 129.447, ahead of Michael Schumacher's Williams on a 130.129. Jean Alesi rounds out the top three for McLaren. Mika Hakkinen, again a strong performance for Sauber, taking 4th. 15 degrees and it's dried out for race day. We're going to stick to the usual. It'll be 2 30-lap stints for Takagi. Obviously, our dry tyres have not been heat cycled, so both are completely fresh. 11th and 12th. I'm relatively happy with that, to be honest. We did fall behind Ralf Schumacher's Tyrrell, but we were lapped only once, and we finished, which is important. It means that we're saving on the spare parts. Taking a look at what happened, David Coulthard ended up taking the win for Ferrari, a 1:28.19.328, ahead of Johnny Newhouse's Benetton. Damon Hill holds on for third, disappointing for him, I suppose. Jean Lacey takes fourth for McLaren, Alexander Wurz fifth for Jordan, and Eddie Irvine puts his Sauber in the final points paying position. Mika Hakkinen just missing out after what was a very strong quali. Taking a look, there's a lot of engine failure here, which is surprising. Ricardo Rossit's Tyrrell, Andrea Montemini's Stewart, Michael Schumacher's Williams, and Shinji Nakano's McLaren also coming to engine failure. Olivier Panis, Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the Jordan and the Benetton respectively having electronic failure, and Esteban Tuero's Arrows pulls over with hydraulic failure. Not a terrible performance from us, to be honest. I mean, still we're not in the fight for points, but it really wasn't a bad result, all things considered. Oh, great. So now we've got a 2-season customer deal from Goodyear, so it goes from bad to worse. We need to crank everybody up onto this Ford deal. And I'm going to drop Goodyear then and bring Zepter along to our next hospitality run. Still nobody really worth hiring in the commercial department, which is doubly unfortunate. We have, for all intents and purposes, completed the CFD simulation phase, which is pleasing to me. I'm not sure it's worth holding on for that extra point, because we could gain more points down here by moving on. So I'm going to finish this stage now, and we'll fill up the next bar. No new specs of anything has arrived, not surprising. I'm getting very, very nervous about the upcoming season, to be honest with you. Very, very nervous indeed. Nothing has been going to plan so far, and I don't think we've necessarily made any particularly big mistakes, to be honest. We're going to strengthen our construction team. We could do with an extra mechanic, to be honest. That's something else I've noticed. We'll take on an apprentice. Give that a boost. The design office is as strong as it needs to be right now, so that's about the only thing that's working as we want it to be. Let's throw out some more spares. Nice. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed because I get the feeling that we're going to be pushing for championships a lot later than we potentially could have been. We will bring Car 1 back into the mix for Tora Takagi. That should be easier to maintain. Car 3 we will repair completely. Car 1 will be running 48% worn, but again, nothing really to be done there. Let's see. Oh, stop inviting Mobile 1 places. Second time I've done that now. This is the problem, I suppose, with running so many playthroughs. I forget which sponsors are important to which team. I need to start making notes. For those of you who were facepalming when I did that, immediately after apologising for taking the wrong partner on our last trip, you are completely 110% correct to have done that. Right, since we've got nothing else to set up, I am going to plough on. Round 10 in Austria. 23 degrees and very dry for quali. 19th and 20th, that's not good. We've fallen behind the Stewarts, who obviously have brought an upgrade package, I would assume. We're still well clear of the Prost though, so I'm not too bothered. It's next year's car that we need to be worried about now. 20 degrees with cloud cover for race day. We need to make sure we're on fresh rubber. You can run heat cycled rubber. I just do this because I know how in race conditions, if drivers make any kind of push, they can begin to eat into their tyres very, very quickly. So I'd rather run them on fresh rubber and let the AI make the best decisions. Oh, I thought we had both cars finishing there, but we didn't. Pedro Diniz finishes in 13th position. Toru Takagi loses out due to brake failure. Again, reasonably high levels of attrition there, but Michael Schumacher takes the win for Williams, ahead of Heinz-Harald Frenzen's Benetton. Esteban Tuero puts his arrows on the podium, an excellent performance from him, with the final points paying positions going to the Ferrari of Damon Hill, the Benetton of Johnny Newhouse, and the Sauber of one Mika Hakkinen. Jean Alesi sits atop the Drivers' Championship on 53 points, ahead of David Coulthard on 46, Michael Schumacher bringing up the rear on 39. In the Constructors, McLaren open up a 16-point lead over Ferrari with 86 points. Williams sat third on 52, ahead of Benetton with 37. Arrows are now pretty safe, I think, in fifth with 9 points. So we're still turning a profit. That's something. I think we're in trouble. I think we're in real trouble here, guys. Real trouble. Let's turn that up. Let's see if we can't strengthen our commercial team. We can. Good. We really need to. So, big hire there for the commercial team. Also, some mechanics are available, which is important for getting the most out of those spare parts. Right then, that's an appropriate cliffhanger, I think, to round out this particular episode. Guys, we really are in trouble, I think. But please, have an amazing weekend, and do join me to see how we get out of this one. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.